Those images were created through digital interventions. More recently, this is a work from last year called World Machine that again links to this kind of history of a micronation of Ludea. This is another chapter in the story in which the Ludeans are looking to, once again, remap urban spaces, but through this kind of system called the World Machine. I won't go into the details here, but essentially the idea in these images was to recreate that digital aesthetic, or that kind of intervention in terms of iconography and digital media language and so forth, but to do it all in camera. So these shots were constructed using props and sculptures and lighting and so forth, so that apart from some very simple colour grading and so forth, the images that you're seeing here were constructed in shot, so that there was this kind of reconstruction of reality in a particular moment, at a particular time, that created this hybrid or mixed reality. And so that's really what I wanted to talk about and kind of introduce, I guess, into this panel discussion, is this concept of mixed reality. And I'll show another example of a recent project that kind of looks at this idea. This is these are some images from a residency that I undertook at Tokyo Wondersite earlier this year, and the concept was essentially the micronation of Ludea coming into an unfamiliar space, that is the urban streetscapes of Tokyo, and looking for a way to kind of remap or to rediscover those spaces, once again using this highly abstract but coded systematic language. So essentially my activities there were moving around the various city spaces and finding locations and kind of changing or remapping their meaning through the placement of physical, kind of simple physical signs that remap these spaces in terms of Ludean language. So here you see a car park, an old school, streets of Akihabara, and so forth, being remapped with this iconography. And this kind of process was kind of twofold. So there was the actual kind of physical remapping and the kind of tangible sense of presence, of marking these sites with a kind of physical marker, leaving that in place, and then seeing it kind of degrade or kind of be over time. But then also the other side of the process was connecting these kind of images together in a wiki, which created another different spatial narrative between the sites. So as a result of these projects, I've been approached by a group called the Urban Codemakers to create a new system of play for the city of Melbourne. The Urban Codemakers are a collective of guilds based in Melbourne, and as I mentioned, their current project is a commission to look at ways that the city, much like Javier was suggesting, could be rezoned, or the way that urban spaces could be reinterpreted and re-seen through these kind of Ludean systems of play. So the project is really about setting up a new set of urban codes and inviting people to participate in this project and to actively kind of engage with the city and find and participate in the process of urban code making. And the way that this is proposed to occur is an alternate reality game that's launching in about 10 days from now, in which players are invited to undertake fieldwork activities with the urban code makers, using these invented languages to take, say, spaces around. Here we have a shot from Flanagan Lane in the Guildford Lane complex, in the upper kind of northwest corner of the CBD. And as I said, participate in rezoning the city through play. So I invite you to visit this website, and this is a little plug for the project, and join that process. I think I'm out of time.
Don't know if you've got anything that sort of non-Euclidean spaces that you can create. I mean, I thought that was really, really exciting. And just particularly that sort of little wood that we first showed at the start. Yeah, I would be very surprised if you know, game developers couldn't see some potential for that. I mean, that really is the sort of groundhog day dilemma. You know, you become caught in a wood. This classic game dilemma. You get to a point where you can't get past it, and then you can't get dark, or you can't really hear sort of steps before. But in your version, you're actually not actually dead. You're just sort of caught in this little loop.
There is a way out of it.
Yeah.
But it all comes down to learning and player psychology. It looks like it's an infinite loop, and if you're playing it like you're playing a normal game, where you think, I'm playing a normal game, I must move forwards, the game is just going to let you continue doing that right now infinitely. I do need to change it so that you eventually find the solution. But it was an interesting concept to begin with, but it didn't mean anything when I first did it. It's like you just make it part of the design. What are people supposed to do? So for me, the interesting thing was finding out what I could do with it, which is where philosophy came in, because then players feel like, oh, they sometimes you make work from that.
I have a question to Troy about the code makers. I'm really interested in that. Something that I'd like to say is that the examples I've given are what I like to call institutional or personal pranks with background. So they're like pranks. Instead of pranking you to do something bad for you, they prank you to do something good for you for society. So do you or the other code makers, have you decided what are the positive outcomes that you want members and full members in essence with your little thing?
Within the group, there are a number of different views on what urban code making can be. Some are more institutional, but some are certainly very playful. That is wanting to, pretty much saying that a lot of the kind of, people know how to get around space, so they don't really need to be told what to do, but space has become something that is so kind of functional and so kind of practical that there is a real need to encourage kind of play in urban spaces so that there is, I guess, a reason for being there other than kind of just day-to-day kind of using that space for whatever purpose it's been kind of developed for. So what this comes down to is essentially, and this is where the City of Melbourne is interested in, is a kind of being in those spaces rather than, and living in those spaces rather than just kind of using them as a kind of practical, kind of functional kind of thing. And the thing with city spaces, and this is in any city, is that they're dominated by commercial forces, economic forces. And so the need to kind of subvert those forces in a systematic way is part of the manifesto, part of the argument.
Are we going to have the time? I can see a
Right,
couple.
no, we've got another 15 minutes to talk to know, so it's over to you. Oh, thanks. I don't know how this works, though.
My question is for you, Alex. I find your project has been absolutely fascinating, both conceptually and technically. I'd love it if you could explain how that loop that you demonstrated actually functions inside the engine. I can't fathom.
Magic? It's really technical. Do people care?
I care.
Alright, well, some of the ways that you can do this, everyone's played Portal, obviously. Maybe, so that's not obvious, that's obvious to me. I've played Portal, and a bunch of people have. And one of the things that I had to overcome was, Portal is really simple. You've got a simple system. You shoot a portal there, you shoot a portal there, you go through there, you come out there. And when that came about, is as you move through one, it'll basically link that space to the start, and as you move through another one, it'll link that space to the start, and if you've done, if you've done both of them, then it'll basically change that to another space. So it's really simple when you know what it's doing, because all it's doing is being like, oh, you've now reached these parameters, I'm now going to teleport you to some other area, right? Or I'm now not going to teleport you, so it's really just a whole lot of disjointed spaces all around the place, and I just teleport you all around the place, and it just sounds completely trivial when I say it like that. I'm just teleporting the player around and they just don't know when it's happening.
My question's for Javier. I really enjoyed your presentation. I thought the idea of getting game designers to work on city planning was a really novel idea. I'd love to see that taken to public policies, or trying to solve problems like water restrictions. Have you seen anything like that?
I was at a conference called Visualizar in Madrid. It's about data visualization, and there was a project that it was too complex that I didn't quite understand. But it's this whole quarter, this neighborhood in the city, that they're building with lots of data visualization, so all the citizens have a clear image. I mean, this wasn't hands on, we had 5 slides. The idea is the same that they have in some software companies where they instrument their builds, so everything is watchable at the same time. So you have, for every project, you have how many tickets you have, how many bugs open in the bug database, so that everybody in the city is transparent, not only in its skin, in its outside, and in its public spaces, but the innards are also transparent. And one of the comments through that visualization thing is that the only way to make this useful to the citizens is to make it fun, else it would create the too much data anxiety that we all have. And we juggling too many pieces of information in our brains in a short-term memory, and we don't know how to act. So to make it evident, and also make like the more virtuous line of action not only easier, but also fun and relaxing. It's definitely a task, but if I remember the reference, if anyone interested, I can give you the reference.
Another really interesting project from Iceland a few years ago where they visualised how much electricity everyone was using in the city through creating a cloud of mist above the city, projecting a green sort of cast up to it. So this cloud would get bigger and smaller depending on how much electricity is going.
It was also projected on the stack of the power station, so that was also a second term there.
Up to the back there.
I've got a question for Troy Ensign regarding Ludale. You were talking about sort of subverting the sort of traditional sort of marketing forces which sort of hold people's interest. I was a little confused as to what sort of the user's incentive was to participate in Ludale. Like, what sort of incentives did you have in place? How did you guide a player to actually sort of interact with the different elements of Ludale? Maybe I'm stupid, but I didn't quite understand how it worked.
No, you're not stupid. I'm reassuring on that. Perhaps the Ludale, so up until recently, is largely a kind of conceptual project. So because of the shortness of time, I didn't talk about some of my public art practice, which involves setting up urban art environments where people kind of play and participate in collaborative kind of electronic media kind of systems, such as performing light and sound and so forth. But some of those strategies will be, but more in a kind of practical and low-tech way, are going to be adopted in this